roaming.
Don't miss the post either.
So there's a client of mine that owns a lot in
She look like Lady Gaga.
Sterling Ridge, on Sheridan's Trail.
I know, she actually looks pretty.
She's saying that she got wind that when the developer was developing the area,
Writes it, produces it, directs it, acts it.
they promised that lot
Yeah,
to.
he actually does a good job. Kind of, and it's funny when I watch the previews. It's like
He's never here.
he's made it around. It's like
These are
good acting.
These are locked down.
Oh, okay.
That's after.
He didn't go to Texas.
It's locked
Like everybody
down.
else.
There's no further.
But she's saying that was promised as a park to the village.
You know, I
And now she wants to sell it.
peppermint. I seen peppermint.
Sell the lot.
No, because you know what, the scum suckers, they deserve it.
To anybody. So somebody wants to buy a house, they're gonna build a house. I emailed Ed Lilo.
It wasn't in line with the stars. Because if you see the post and you watch Tom James.
Hey Mike, how you doing? Long time no see. I'm like, did Mike go to Texas? But everybody else
I
is.
say that I would think, because I thought the post was great, but if Bradley
Right.
Cooper and
She bought it from a
what did he
tax
say
sale.
in the previews,
And I guess found that out
I think they'd
afterwards.
still beat it. So I thought the post dragged out a little bit. And what's her name, a little over.
I can't sell it.
A lot of material. The
I
Ellsworth
know.
papers, period.
Yeah, I mean, and they did a good job.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow, we're also.
I don't know. I guess we have to find out. I emailed Ed a couple days ago.
As long as we're doing it,
Yeah.
as long as they're not just personal preference.
Mike, is this your personal bodyguard? What's going on here?
First birthday party.
If we do, but if we do, then we gotta do it right.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
Travis, how are you? No, I asked if you were his personal bodyguard.
Yeah, she moves 600 miles an hour. She's up walking and hitting every corner table. You know.
How many grandkids you got?
3. 2 boys and a girl. And she just turned 1. She was born 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's way better. Look at the difference.
Don't burn the screen.
Put in my loan checks.
Don't hit her with it.
Okay, we're on. You're just waiting for Ed, huh? And what? Yeah, well, give it. Would be unfair. Yeah, that's what I got too. So what? That thing that's on.
Always.
Nick, I heard you had like 150 people there.
It was great.
Yeah, I heard nothing but good reviews.
No, it was
Good
really
job.
great. It was really good. And, you know, it's funny. We had a bar with beer and wine.
Yeah.
And Keith is standing in front of the secretary says, you know, you guys need to get liquor licenses for this. We did. So Keith says,
Ed, how you doing?
you're the assistant liquor commissioner. Yeah, just kidding. But, you know,
My understanding was if you have a private event,
Yeah.
so invitation only,
yeah.
then you can have.
All you need is a permit.
Well, maybe his secretary was wrong then. But in any event, didn't matter. You know, we had, yeah, we had veterans there. We had the raising of the colors and everything.
How many times did we have the Oktoberfest?
It was nice.
I left from Mexico, so I was.
Well, we'll get you next one.
No, I really was.
When do AJ Smith, we're gonna have another one, but it's not gonna be here. It's gonna be the one in Midlothian.
He didn't get
Yeah, Cindy was there.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I talked to everybody.
Hey, we had great eats. We had it catered by City Barbecue. I never would have imagined it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Really good.
they did that, country thing, yeah.
They did an amazing job. Hey, Ed. Good. Okay, 7 o'clock. I will call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. And first order of business, I would entertain a motion
Pledge.
Pledge.
Oh, yes, thank you. You know, I was telling Paul that, let me turn it. No.
I'll second that motion for the pledge.
So please, if we would all stand for our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the October 9th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Laura Murphy, second by John Paul, and I will poll you individually. Commissioner Zamparelli?
Yes.
Commissioner Aubin?
Aye.
Commissioner Shalaby?
Aye.
Commissioner Schuster?
Aye.
And aye. Okay. Now I will make a motion to open, no, first of all, before we do that, I will, I'm going to, one moment. I'm going to move that we continue file number 2018-0330 Waterfall Plaza subdivision to the November 13, 2018 Plan Commission meeting.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schuster. Commissioner Shalaby?
Aye.
Commissioner Paul?
Aye.
Commissioner Aubin?
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy?
Aye.
Commissioner Zamparelli?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I move that we open the public hearing on agenda item 2017-0897 Century Medical Park 2.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shalaby. Commissioner Paul?
Aye.
Commissioner Schuster?
Aye.
Commissioner Robin?
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy?
Aye.
Commissioner Zamparelli?
Aye.
Thank you. I will ask staff for the presentation.
Thank you. The petitioner is requesting approval for special use permit for planned manufacturing development with modifications for site plan, for elevations, and for a landscape plan for Century Medical Park 2. The project will consist of 2 medical office buildings located on Lot 5 of the Southwest Business Center, which is located at 16045 South 108th Avenue. The site is 1.86 acres, and it is zoned in our MFG manufacturing district. It is currently vacant. Like I said, it's on the intersection of 108th Avenue and 161st Street. And as part of, in our manufacturing district, it does require that this would be a planned manufacturing development due to multiple buildings on one lot and more than one principal use, which is per that code requirement. There are 5 modifications that are currently being requested to locate a parking lot between the building facades and the street, to increase the number of parking spaces, to increase the side setback for Building B, to allow for development with a non-tidal wetland setback, and to increase the retaining wall to a height greater than 3 feet. The petitioner has submitted responses to the special use standards, which were included in your packet for review. This is an overview of our development review process. You can see highlighted in green that we're currently at the Plan Commission. In general, we will be following the regular development review process. However, this project will be, been given an allowance to skip the Development Services Planning and Engineering Committee. This was due to an error that was caused by the Prairie newspaper. They had skipped publishing the notice, so the meeting did get pushed back to this. It was originally scheduled to a prior meeting. Other than that, though, it will be following the same development review process as other projects. This will be scheduled then after this to go to the village board November 5th. So the site is located on 108th Avenue, which is located in the Centennial Planning District. This is a little bit closer of a view of our comprehensive plan map. It's the office employment emphasis, which the medical office buildings will be compatible and consistent with. It's located in the MFG manufacturing district, The properties surrounding it on the northeast and south sides are all zoned MFG, and across the street is Century Junior High School, which is large-scale planned development district. The proposed use will also be compatible with the surrounding uses. This is a closer aerial, and this is a bird's eye view that kind of gives you some perspective on the surrounding uses. So you can see that there are quite a few medical and office uses surrounding it. The detention pond that I'm going to point to right up here, this is our shared detention pond, which was approved for the entire Beamster Boyer industrial development at some point in time. And this is the proposed site plan. So as you can see, there's 2 medical office buildings that are proposed. Each of the buildings will measure 7,960 square feet in size. You can see that there is in the corner here, there's a bioretention area that's proposed. There's an interior sidewalk system that will connect to 161st Street, and then which then will connect to 108th Avenue. You can see that there's 2 independent parking lots as well, both of which will have access to 161st Street. There will be no direct access to 108th Avenue from the site. There is an opportunity for cross-access up to the north to this other Century Medical Park 1, which is directly to the north. The petitioner has stated that it is cost prohibited at this time, and there are separate owners, so the owners of the other lot has indicated that they do not want that cross-access connection. So there are 5 modifications, as I said, that are proposed. 3 are shown here. The first one is to locate the parking lot in the setback area between the building facades and the streets. So this would be for 108th Avenue and for 161st Street. That's indicated by number 1. Number 2 is to increase the maximum side yard setback from the street to greater than 80 feet for Building B, as proposed in that area right there to accommodate this parking lot area. They're proposing about an 80-foot setback. The third modification shown here is to increase the number of allowed parking spaces from 53 to 87. And the petitioner has indicated that these 3 modifications specifically shown here, will allow it to be more compatible with some of the current configurations that are set up for 108th Avenue, as well as to kind of mimic the layout that's currently at Century Medical Park 2. So that's that lot directly to the north that you can see right there in that aerial. Kind of gives you a different perspective of their similar site plans. Just one is turned. 2 other modifications are requested, as shown in where that number 4 is pointed to up there. When the petitioner originally submitted plans, they were proposing a retaining wall that was over 3 feet in height, which would require modification. At this point in time, I believe the wall has been lowered to 2.9 feet, but that's pretty close to the 3-foot cutoff. So staff is requesting that modification be left in for right now, so that just in case in final engineering, if that height has to be increased a little bit, the petitioner would not have to go back and republish again. But as of right now, it is shown at 2.9 feet. The 4th modification is to allow for development within 50 feet of a non-tidal wetland, which is located on the lot to the east. These are 2 isolated wetlands that you can kind of see highlighted in that blue area right there. So this project is actually not going to impact these, but per our code, a portion of the parking lot and the drive-out will be located within that 50-foot setback. So in terms of the site plan, staff is recommending a few conditions for approval. The first one is our standard to meet all final engineering and building code related items. The second and third is related to the improvements for 108th Street that are currently, 108th Avenue that are currently underway. It's under Cook County's jurisdiction. They're currently, proposing some plans to widen it, and there will be a multi-use bike path that will run the extent north-south. So staff is requesting that if determined during final engineering, an easement will be granted on the site, and that sidewalk along 161st Street will adequately connect to that multi-use path. The submitted site plan did not include bicycle parking spots. So staff is recommending that those are included in the final engineering plans. And then to meet our building code requirements, a railing will need to be installed around that bioretention area over here. In terms of the building elevations, the buildings will be identical to each other for Building A and Building B. It's primarily constructed of a brick, and then the upper areas above the limestone horizontal banding will be of a stucco color. They have these two large entry porticos, which are on the front entrances, and then on the rear elevations, they will have some fencing, a parapet wall that will be installed to screen all the mechanical equipment. This kind of shows you their roof layout as well as their floor plan. And here are the proposed colored elevations. And then like I mentioned earlier, a lot of this project will be very similar to Century Medical Park 1 to the north. So these are the elevations for that particular development, and you can kind of get a sense of how it will look when it's constructed. The trash enclosure will be just to the south in that secondary parking lot, to the south of the bioretention area. So you can see it's going to be 6 foot tall. We'll have brick to match the primary elevations. 3 conditions of approval for the elevations include screening the mechanical equipment fully, meeting our building code masonry standards, and then any sign permits are reviewed through a separate review. The petitioner has also submitted a landscape plan. It has gotten preliminary landscape engineering through our preliminary landscape approval through our consultant, Hay & Associates. So the condition here would be to submit a final plan in conjunction with final engineering and have that approved as well. So I've discussed the 5 requested modifications in this case. Here's all of the conditions of approval in summary. And the recommended motion is included in your packet. That would be for the approval of the special use permit with modifications for the site plan, for the building elevations, and for the landscape plan. And that concludes staff presentation.
Thank you, Beth. And I take it that you've presented these conditions and standards to the petitioner, and you were satisfied with their responses, and they understand our requirements. Is the petitioner present?
The petitioners, yeah.
Would you like to speak?
Sure.
We need to swear you in. If you would step up, and you would sign and step up. All right, do you intend to speak as well, sir? Okay. Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth and matter before this commission?
I do.
Would you please state your name and address?
Linda Olson.
And your address, please.
Just wanted to let you guys know that we're really excited about the project. Huh? Oh, my address.
I'm probably not
sorry.
speaking into the mic. Yes.
19580 Pheasant Lane in Mokina.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you want to address the commission? Or?
Yes, I do.
Well, go right ahead.
My name is Linda Olson, and I am the developer and management company for the buildings that are going to be situated here on 161st Street. We have 18 buildings currently in Orland Park, and this will make it 20 when we get to this development. We're extremely excited about building the new buildings. I've already leased the first building to a dental practice as well as a in vitro fertilization clinic. The second building we do have a preliminary lease on as well, so we're really excited about getting this started and having the buildings be put up next year. And that will be it.
Okay. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will poll our commissioners.
Thank you, public.
And unless there's anybody else in the public who wants to say anything, I don't see anybody back there. So, but Paul seems to think there's somebody hiding behind that wall back there. But anyway, I'll poll our commissioners. Commissioner Schuessler.
A couple of questions for the staff. In the project description, it says that there's a retention basin which was built by Beamster Bore when they originally subdivided this. But then in the site plan description, it talks about a bioretention facility. So if there was a retention basin for the whole subdivision, why is there a bioretention facility for this lot? Has something changed since Beemster Borough was developed?
Oh, that's a requirement of the MWRD. The volume control is a separate requirement from the detention.
Okay, so for every project, there's going to be the master detention basin and then also the bioretention?
Yep, exactly. Volume control and detention volume are two separate requirements. The village's detention requirement is stricter than the MWRD's, but the volume control is MWRD solely, and it's required of every new project in every new project in Cook County portion of the village.
Wait a minute, you said the village requirement is the bigger retention basin and the MWRD is the smaller one?
Correct.
That seems like it's the reverse. I don't remember that when I was on the board, but,
It wasn't that way when you were on the board.
okay, that's why I don't remember it. Second question for the staff is, we seem to be getting a lot of requests to increase the number of parking spaces. That would indicate to me that maybe we aren't in sync with the requirements for ultimately what the use is going to be. If the developers keep asking for more, they must know they need more because they're expensive to allocate the land for the parking. It's expensive to, put in the base, put in the asphalt. So I would ask staff to take a look at this issue and see if maybe we should amend our requirements on parking spaces, since we keep constantly getting these requests for more parking. And I understand about green space. I'm all in favor of green space. I'm in favor of having as much green space as possible, but there must be some reason we keep getting more requests for parking.
Mr. Hoda, you want to address that?
We will evaluate the various demands or requirements that are coming up. We'll go back.
Okay. The other question I have for staff is there's an indication that the county is considering widening 108th Avenue. How far south are they going to widen 108th Avenue? To 167th. Okay. That'd be nice. The only reason I asked that is I live down that way. Okay. Oh, I know. My other question was, two questions. This 2-foot, 9-inch wall, I didn't quite understand. Where is that going to be located?
You see where 4 is pointing?
4, okay. Is that along that swale there?
Yeah, it's this area right here. There's going to be, right now it's proposed at 2.9 feet, like I said, but just in case during final engineering, if it did go over that 3 feet,
Is that because there's a swale? Is that why you need a wall there?
there is a little swale there, yes.
Okay. My last question is, to the east of this property, can you go back to the prior, yeah. To the east of this property, right where it says Century Medical Park, where the printing is up there, there's 2 vacant lots that, according to the diagram here, lots 3 and 4, that have access off that cul-de-sac. Are those 2 lots, is there enough capacity in that detention basin for those 2 lots when they get developed, lots 3 and 4? Or do you know at this point?
Well, it depends on their site plan, but each lot that is available to be developed will have a portion of that pond still available for their property.
Okay.
Depending on their site use and their specific land use, they will have
So there is some capacity left in that Beemster Borough.
but they will also still
Have the bioretention? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Shelby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have one question. I spent some time on the school board, and there was always some concern with the traffic exiting Century. It gets very, very congested on 108th Avenue. And then if you can go back to the previous slide as well, the property directly to the south of that happens to be a friend of mine who owns that lot, and they have a tremendous amount of traffic in and out of that property as well. And it seems like we're directing all the traffic to 161st. Now, I know the office building directly to the south has access from 108th Avenue, but that area gets frequently congested. And my concern would be that although we're trying to eliminate some of that and make them go to 161st, that it still would be pretty congested for that area. I don't know if there's any other solution, but I can see that being a potential hindrance. And I think now it's already congested, and I can only see it getting worse.
Widening the road will solve it.
You think so? Yeah. So, I don't have a solution, but I'm happy to hear the petitioner's request a response.
Sorry. So there is also a lot of traffic coming off of the ice arena that comes onto that street as well, that Century Medical Park 1 is on. So that was when we did the proposed site plan for the office buildings, it was best to do the 161st Street entryway.
Well, I happen to frequent the site almost on a daily basis, and I'd be in favor of the plan to support this going through, but I just want to note for the record that I think that there's going to be a lot of traffic, and I've seen things back up even on Friday afternoons that people are waiting for several minutes to get out of 161st directly from that, even through that empty cul-de-sac now with no building being there.
Okay. I do know that there is some parking concerns with the locations, which is also why we asked for the additional parking, but there is a lot of traffic coming off of all of those complexes there. The bank also feeds onto 160th as well.
You talking about the MPI building?
Yeah. Thank you. Nothing further, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Paul?
Most of my questions have pretty much been answered already. I think this is a good project. Definitely fits in. I mean, buildings, the new ones look pretty much identical to the ones that are there now anyway. It's a good use for the space. I think the traffic is always going to be something that's, no matter what you put there, you know, there's a lot of land left to be developed, which is, I guess at some point we'll have to deal with that. But I mean, as far as this project goes, I think it's a fine project. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Zamparelli?
I concur with Mr. Shalaby on the concern about the parking, the traffic there, but I think part of the problem is the road's under construction on 159th. It can't flow through real well. And I think when they work on 108th, they are going to hopefully put a light somewhere in there, and hopefully that'll help it out. Other than that, I think it's a great fit for the area. I think the building fits in there nicely, and I'm excited to see some more development. So, good luck.
Thank you. Commissioner Murphy?
I also agree with the traffic. It is a problem there, and I think as construction completes on 159th, it will alleviate, hopefully. And it's similar building type, of surrounding and similar use, so I too welcome, the project.
Thank you. Commissioner Aubin?
We have preliminary engineering approval. I don't see anybody from John Q. Public in the room. And the petitioner spoke and said she had no objections to any of the conditions that we have in the petition. And obviously, staff would have not presented this the way they did unless they checked everything to make sure it was copacetic. So this program and this project is cool with me.
Thank you. Well, yes. We hear you fine.
We just wanted to at least bring it to the record that the traffic issue that you are mentioning we believe, is because of construction on 159. And once the 159 construction is completed, that queue that forms currently on 159 that spills over onto 108, as well as 104th, and if you go to Ravinia, that's over there as well. We believe that once 159 construction is complete, this traffic issue will go down. We do not have a study that we can back that up, but based on our field observation and our experience in this area, we believe that will relieve the traffic issues.
Thank you. Well, of course, it's a matter of time. 159th, the construction will be completed, and then we'll have to deal with 108th widening as well, and that'll cause its own congestion. But the object is, when this is all done, hopefully it will alleviate any concerns.
And that's true, Commissioner Parisi, Chairman Parisi, that we anticipate the 159 construction will be done sometime summer of next year. It was anticipated for this year, but it didn't happen, but it will be sometime next year. And we certainly expect that an improvement. The other part which and it expands the conversation here, but the traffic on 159 will go down once the traffic will have 2 lanes in each direction. So right now, they're handling all that traffic with 1 lane in each direction. Once that goes to 2 lane in each direction, it certainly will relieve that pressure.
Understood. Sometimes when you're down to 1 lane, it's like trying to take a drink out of a fire hose. But it will be alleviated. And other than that, I think it's a good project, and it just continues the type of construction that there is right now. It's a natural addition. And with that, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Robin.
I move to accept as findings of fact, this Plan Commission, the findings of fact set forth in the staff report dated October 18, 2018, and I move to recommend to the Village Board of Trustees approval of a special use permit with modifications to allow for a planned manufacturing development in the MFG Manufacturing District. Modifications to the special use permit are to, number 1, locate a parking lot in the setback area between the buildings and the street. Number 2, increase the number of parking spaces from 53 to 87 spaces. Number 3, increase the maximum side yard setback to greater than 20 feet for Building B. Number 4, allow for development within 50 feet of a non-tidal wetland located adjacent parcel to the east. And number 5 would be permit the installation of a retaining wall greater than 3 feet along the north property line.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Paul. Continue?
Need approval?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
We'll go at the end.
Here we go. I move to recommend to the Village Board of Trustees approval of the preliminary site plan titled Preliminary Site Plan for Century Medical Park 2 prepared by Design Tech Engineering Incorporated. Sheets 1 and 2 dated August 11, 2017, revised September 4, 2018, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, meet all final engineering and building code related items. Number 2, provide an easement along the full extent of the west property line for the proposed multi-use bike path along 108th Avenue as determined during final engineering. Number 3, install a sidewalk along 161st Street connecting to the approximate location of the future multi-use path along 108th Avenue as determined during final engineering. Number 4, provide 8 bicycle parking spaces on the site. Number 5, install railings around the bioretention area in accordance with the building code.
Second.
Continue, and I'll poll the commissioners at the end.
Roger that. I move to recommend to the Village Board of Trustees approval of the elevations titled Century Medical Park 2 prepared by IJM Architects, sheet A-1.0 and A-2.0 dated September 7, 2018, and received October 16, 2018, subject to the following conditions. 1, screen all mechanical equipment either at grade level with landscaping or hidden behind the roof line. 2, all masonry must be of anchored veneer-type masonry with a 2.265-inch minimum thickness. Number 3, submit a sign permit application to the Development Service Department for separate review. Signs are subject to additional review and approval via the sign permitting process, and additional restrictions may apply.
Second.
Please continue.
I move to recommend to the Village Board of Trustees to approve the preliminary landscape plan titled Cove Construction Century Medical, sheet L1, prepared by Beery Landscaping, dated October the 10th, 2017, with a revision date of December 6, 2017, subject to the following condition. Submit a final landscape plan meeting all village codes in conjunction with the final engineering submittal.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Zamparelli?
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy,
Aye.
Commissioner Schussler,
Aye.
Commissioner Shalaby.
Aye.
Aye, congratulations. I move, with this, I move that we close the public hearings and close this public hearing. I make a motion to close public hearings.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schussler. Commissioner Shalaby.
Aye.
Commissioner Paul.
Aye.
Commissioner Robin.
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy.
Aye.
Commissioner Zamparelli.
Aye.
Okay.
Welcome back to Orland Park. Number 12, right?
Yeah.
12th time?
12th time.
That's great.
That concludes our public hearings. I know we were given some updated land development codes, but I don't think there's going to be any discussion of them at this meeting. No, there's nothing on there. So, we don't need to, we have an attachment with, we've all received a memo for the new parents' reviews for future meetings. So with that, I will move that we adjourn at 7:32 and a half.
Second.
Motion and a second. Commissioner Shelby?
Aye.
Commissioner Paul?
Aye.
Commissioner Albin?
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy?
Aye.
Commissioner Zamparelli?
Aye.
Thank you. I think I'm,
That was the fastest.
safer from being, that mounted, like, just pulling everything.
Have you been here with a early crowd yet?
Yeah.
Hey,